Good evening, everybody. It's Bridget here from Bridget's Healthy Kitchen, wishing you a fabulous day wherever you are in the world, whatever it is you may be doing. I hope that you are really well and I hope that you are safe. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. Very cool little class we're doing today. And what we're going to be making is the very first of our celebration of the most gorgeous Malaysian cuisine. I have to say that I am a huge fan of Malaysian cuisine. The flavors are just phenomenal, and every single time I am fortunate enough to eat beautiful Malaysian food, I just feel like I'm the luckiest person in the world because the flavors are so incredibly good. What we're doing today or tonight here in Bridget's Healthy Kitchen is I thought I would start the week off with a wonderful caramelized coconut jam. It is known as kaya jam, but it is just so delicious. It's got such a unique and distinct flavor. You are going to be hooked on this jam. Now, traditionally, kaya jam is made with a lot of sugar and a lot of stirring, but I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a sped up version. Of course, we're taking out all the refined sugar, and we are making the most delicious gluten-free, sugar-free, and dairy-free kaya jam. It is literally something that you can spread on your healthy, grain-free, gluten-free toast. It's very similar to, I like to think the texture is a bit like a curd. So it's not a thick jam. It's quite a loose, lovely curd-like texture, but it's the flavor. It literally got me hooked. The first time I tried it, I just had to learn how to make kaya jam. And I've made the unhealthy version, and now I'm giving you guys the healthy version, which is really exciting. So there's not a lot of ingredients involved, but it does take, even though I'm giving you the quick version, you still need to allocate about 10 to possibly 20 minutes worth of your time to make this delicious kaya jam. So come on down to my bench. Let's get into the recipe. As I was saying, there's not many ingredients involved, which is quite fabulous. The first ingredient we're going to start with is the base of our kaya jam. I'm going to weigh everything straight into my pot so it's nice and easy. And the very first thing I'm using is some coconut milk. So if you can get hold of a really good quality coconut milk, which is what I have here, the Cara is a real fabulous high quality coconut milk, then you can use all coconut milk. But if your coconut milk, maybe you're thinking, I'm not sure whether it's as high quality, you can tell the quality because it's quite a lovely thick coconut milk. I'm going to use all coconut milk, and I'm going to be putting into here 400 mils, which is about 10 ounces of coconut milk. But if you can't track down a really good quality coconut milk, what you can then use is say 180 mils of coconut milk and 120 mils of coconut cream, because that'll help to boost the fat content in there. So that's 6 ounces or 180 of coconut milk and 120 mils or 4 ounces of coconut cream. Or if you're lucky like me and you've got a good brand, you can put straight in here, sorry, that was 300 mils, not 400, Bridge, 300 mils of coconut milk, which, as I was saying, that's around about 10 ounces. So that goes in first, our coconut milk. And then the next thing I'm going to introduce you guys to, for some of you who may not be familiar, especially with Southeastern Asian cuisine, what I have here, as you can see in my cute little bowl, I have some leaves. And these leaves are called Pandan Leaves. Now, they're a tropical plant, and they are used primarily as a flavoring agent, but people also make it into a paste and use it in all sorts of wonderful ways. Very popular, as I was saying, in Southeast Asian cuisine. And what it looks like is this big, bit of a bush. And believe it or not, this was actually previously frozen. So I have not been able to track down fresh pandan leaves, so you can buy the frozen pandan leaves, which are absolutely fine because they're quite robust, so they actually hold up really well in the freezer. And the best place, of course, to buy your pandan leaves is in your Asian supermarket. So why do you need to put pandan leaves in it? Literally, this is what gives our coconut jam or our kaya jam It's incredible flavor. It's really important that you track these down. And I will even probably bet that once you have taken the effort to track these down, you will be in love with this aroma. It is sensational. It can be kind of described as maybe similar to vanilla, but even vanilla doesn't come close to pandan leaves. So I'm using 3 pandan leaves, and as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm actually tying them into a bit of a knot here, which is just going to help to coax out all those wonderful flavors that are in our pandan leaves. So using 3 and just, just sort of roughly tying them into a bit of a knot, and they will last in your freezer for a long time when you buy them. So you can have them stored in your freezer for 6 months, and anytime you want to add just the most amazing flavor to a custard or something like this amazing jam. I even put pandan leaves in my tea as well, my dandelion tea. The flavor, like I said, it is delicious. So 3 knotted leaves go in there. I'm going to put my cooktop on here, and I'm going to be doing it at medium temperature. So I don't want things to happen too fast. And this is a really important step here in making our jam, is I want to heat the milk up, or the milk and cream if you're using both. I want to heat it up, but I definitely don't want to allow it to boil. This is really, really important. We've got to remember, if it boils, it will spoil. So we've got this on this kind of medium temperature, and all I want to do is bring it to a bit of, so like literally just as it starts to come to a simmer, and then I'm going to turn it off. So I'm going to keep my eye on this, and it's really important when you're making your jam that you keep your eye on this particular part of the process, because we do not want it to get too hot. Really, really important. So the next ingredients that you need in your kaya jam, I'm going to be putting straight into a bit of a bowl here, and I'm going to be using, in this bowl, I have, how many? I can't remember. 5 egg yolks are going into my bowl. 5 egg yolks. And I'll tell you, I've got a really good way that you can use up the egg whites too. I'll let you know about that later on. So obviously you separate your eggs, keep the whites, because I have a fabulous way that you can use up those, gorgeous whites. Absolutely fabulous way. So 5 egg yolks go into there, and I'm using large egg yolks. And then in this bowl, I've got 4 whole eggs, so whites are included. That goes in there as well. I know that's a lot of, that may seem like quite a lot of eggs, but you're going to be making quite a lot of jam. So it all works out in the end. Now I need a whisk. I forgot my whisk. Hello, whisk. Where are you? Oh, I got my colourful whisk. It's my favourite one. Oh, isn't it gorgeous? Right. Let's start to give it a bit of a whisk. But I'm keeping my eye on this little gentleman here, because already he's wanting to bubble away on me. I'm like, you're not going to do that. You're not going to spoil my jam. You're not going to spoil it. Remember, just before it comes to a bit of a simmer. So no boiling, and it's so close. I'm actually going to stand here and wait. You can see I've got steam coming off it, so I know there's a good amount of heat happening there. But do this all over medium heat, please, just because you don't want to just turn your back for a second and come back and, hey, it's boiled, and you've got to turn around and wait for a long time for it to cool down. All right, I'm happy. I've seen one bubble. I'm now turning that off. So while that's sitting there, we can go back to our mixture. So we've got our eggs in. Next ingredient is we're going to be adding in, and I'm putting in, that's right, 0 as sugar, pure erythritol is going in here, which is very exciting because now we have the most amazing sugar-free pandan flavored kaya jam, which is really cool. And I'm going to be putting in 200 grams of our erythritol, which is about 7 ounces. So 200 grams is going in there. Perfect. This is a very lovely sweet jam, by the way. Very, very lovely. And it's, like I said, you're going to be amazed. You're going to be amazed at the flavor that you actually get from this. It's really quite unexpected. And that all comes down to, firstly, the quality of your coconut milk. Really, really important. And the other thing that's going to make this the standout is, of course, those delicious pandan leaves. So if you're going to start asking me, what can I use instead of pandan? Nothing. You have to go and find them. Make it your mission. make it your mission to go and track down Pandan Leaves. You will not be disappointed. This is such a wonderful recipe. Such a wonderful recipe. All right, bit of a whisk of our yolks and our whole eggs and our erythritol. And then the next stage is taking that just simmered, I think I've said it enough times, you guys know how important it is, right? That just simmered coconut milk, or coconut cream and coconut milk, whisking continuously. Look, I'm not stopping. You want to dribble in the warm milk. Now the reason why I'm whisking while I'm doing this is because I want to avoid any possibility that I create scrambled eggs by not continuously moving that coconut milk or that coconut liquid around as I'm incorporating into the egg. So it's really, really important that you whisk the entire time that you are incorporating that hot milk. Even though it's not that hot, but it's all part of the process of making sure that we don't waste all those eggs that we're putting in there. So you've now got this kind of almost like a very thin looking custard. So we're going to go back to the cooktop. And if your cooktop gets down to a really low heat, like just above low, so between medium and low, it's hard to say, I don't know if my cooktop does. You could put this straight back into a clean pot and work straight on the cooktop, but I would actually suggest you do it this way. Is you get yourself a pot, and I've got about that much water. So it's up to about maybe a third the way up the pot. I have some water. I'm now going to turn that on and allow that to come to a simmer. And then, because I want to be so incredibly sure that I don't allow this to get too hot, I'm going to use that pot as a bain-marie. So I'm going to put my metal bowl, you could use a glass bowl as well. Plastic probably not, you want to use something, or you could even maybe use a ceramic bowl, but plastic, maybe not, just maybe not a great idea if you're putting it over water like this. And rather than allowing the direct heat of the liquid inside the pot, we're giving it a lot more of a gentle cooking period by allowing the steam coming off that simmering water to heat the base of our bowl. So it just is like our little insurance policy. I always like to have little insurance policies. Like I said, if you've got a really, really good cooktop that you know well, and you know it gets really, really low, gas can be a little bit hard to determine how, because you know if it doesn't quite go low enough on some people's gas cooktops. So this is a really nice insurance policy for you, is to just put it all into here and let that gentle steaming action help to cook what is now still looking like a custard. As you can see, it still looks like a custard, but this is the time, as I was saying before, that you may need to allow 10 to 20 minutes, because traditionally kaya jam took 45 minutes to 1 hour of continuous stirring. That is how traditionally kaya jam is made, sometimes even longer, a couple of hours. So it was a real labor of love. But this recipe that I'm giving you guys has been modified so that it should take you between 10 to 20 minutes of stirring. And this is the point in time when you like literally grab your laptop, put on a show, stand here and watch the show and keep an eye. Like you can't walk away at this point. Like literally, you have to stay put. Because if you were to walk away and it starts to thicken, which is obviously what we want it to do, it starts to thicken too quickly, you will basically get a lovely bowl of cooked scrambled coconut eggs, which is not what you want. You actually want to create like a curd. So I would highly suggest, rather than walking away, grab yourself, put your phone here, put your laptop, whatever it is, watch your favorite show, and just stand next to the pot and just enjoy the meditative stage of constantly stirring your caramelized coconut jam. It may take, as I was saying, 10 to 20 minutes. It all depends how hot this is under here. But you want it to take at least 10 minutes, so you're doing it on that really low heat. Because the longer the pandan leaf sits in the liquid here, the more flavour that's going to be imparted into your jam. And remember that that is what gives this jam the very, very distinct flavour, is those pandan leaves. So ideally you want this process to take between 10 to 20 minutes. Now how do you know that it's ready? Good question. So what you're looking for is you're looking for the jam to begin to coat the back of the spoon. So see, when I do that, it just completely falls off. There's no coating of that spoon. So that's the consistency that we're looking for. And as I was saying, it all depends on the heat that you get this up to. Not too hot, not too cold, whether it's going to take you between 10 to 20 minutes to create the jam. And this is why the good old laptops comes in handy when it comes to doing something like this, because you literally don't want to walk away and you have to constantly stir. So this, I'm not going to say it's the hard part, it's actually quite an easy thing to do, but the watch points here is looking for the consistency, just like making a real custard, right? Just waiting for that consistency to start to change and go from being completely dropped off to actually coating the back of the spoon. So I'll show you one that I prepared earlier. You can see I've got, I wish you could see, I've literally just got that at a simmer. It's not boiling, it's just simmering. It's that lovely steam that we're using there to create enough heat to cook the jam but to not scramble the jam. So here's one I created earlier. I'll turn that off because it is ready. And what you will see is it's completely different. Right now you have quite a thick custard. And this, using my method here, having this on medium to low heat, bit of water with my constant stirring, this took about 15 minutes, just over 15 minutes for me to create that type of consistency, and that's what you're looking for. So think of like a curd mixture. And what you will also find is there will be some lumps in there, but that's okay, because the next stage, the next thing that we're going to do is remove those lumps. So once you have your jam at this type of consistency, so it is quite thick as you can see, but still a little bit loose. Once you're at that sort of place, the first thing that you want to do is to remove the pandan leaves, because they do not go into the finished jam. They have done their job. They have been our saviour here. So I'm just going to put that, I've just got a jug and I've got a little sieve. So I'm going to take those leaves, but I don't want to waste any of the jam. So I am going to put those leaves into the sieve and then kind of give them a bit of a squish so that I remove all that lovely, lovely jam that we have created. So just giving it a bit of a squish down with my spatula, and you can see that we've got the jam mixing through there quite nicely. And our pandan leaves, like I said, they have done their wonderful job. It's now time to say goodbye. Thank you guys, you are fabulous. Already the smell coming off this is just so good. And then all we got to do is basically take the rest of that lovely jam that we've created, or curd for want of a better texture word. Take that lovely curd and then push it through, and any lumps that may have occurred as we cook the jam are obviously left in our sieve, because there's nothing worse than a lumpy jam. There's nothing worse than a lumpy jam. Well, it's looking pretty good actually. I don't have too many lumps. The first couple of times I tried this, I did have more lumps. And that just comes down to a very careful management of the heat. Like if this starts to get too hot, so if you find that you're getting a bit of steam escaping from, underneath your bowl, then you just turn the heat down, because you also don't want your bowl to get too hot, especially if you're using a metal bowl. So it really does come down to careful management of the heat, and keeping that pot at a simmer will just give you enough really good heat that you make jam without making like a really sweet scrambled egg. It's not nice, and it's a waste of eggs. We definitely don't want to do that. Alright. So keep on using your spatula just to get it lovely and smooth, which is nice. I'm doing it straight into a jug, which of course means that I can now pour it straight into some jars. So I haven't taken it all out of the bowl. So, but you're going to get a couple of jars this size out of that mixture. And the jug is obviously used to facilitate in us pouring it in. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. And then ideally you leave your jam to set in the fridge, and it'll get a little bit firmer, but it will still be that lovely curd texture. You leave that to set in the fridge, you know, for 12 hours if you can handle it, and it will just firm up a little bit, but it'll obviously get lovely and cold, and that is your jam. Now, how do you have it? Now, this is the thing that first time I ever had kaya toast or kaya jam, is I was a little bit shocked at how they actually have the toast, because what they actually do is they take the jam and they get toasted bread, like white bread, butter on top of it, and then of course they put the jam on, and then they have it with almost like a 3/4 poached egg. So not even a fully poached egg, it's like cooked 3/4 of the way, so it's still a little bit runny. And that's what they have for breakfast, and they serve it alongside a little ramekin of soy sauce. So it's crazy, right? You've got this sweet jam, obviously on toast, we all get that. But then they serve it with an egg and soy sauce. So I wasn't that game to do it with the soy sauce, but I have tried it with an egg, and I have to admit that I ate my egg on another piece of toast and had my kaya jam on another piece of toast as well. So I was saying, and I did promise that I would let you know how you can use up those fabulous egg whites that you use when you separate it, and I have the perfect recipe for you guys when it comes to that. So right here I have this wonderful loaf of, and I call it gluten and grain-free bread. Now I did share this with you guys a couple of months back, I think, when we had bread week here in Bridget's Healthy Kitchen. And this bread needs egg whites. It needs a couple of egg yolk, whole eggs, but it needs 4 egg whites. So there's a great way for you to use up your egg whites, is to make this amazing loaf of bread. So this is grain-free, obviously gluten-free, sugar-free, and dairy-free as well. And it uses 4 egg whites, which is fantastic. And it was so quick to make that this bread will only take you, you've got to whip up the egg whites, you've got to mix together the dry ingredients, and then literally just put it into a loaf pan, and then it cooks in the oven for about 35 minutes. So this recipe, by the way, for the kaya jam, and this recipe here for my gluten and grain-free white sandwich loaf, I'm going to be releasing, and I'm so excited to tell you guys this, I'm going to be releasing a new ebook. We're hoping towards the end of this week, so we're just waiting for our designer just to finish off with the editing, and we're going to be releasing a new ebook. It's called Bridget's Healthy Treats Volume 2. And the kaya jam is in there, which is really exciting, and so is the loaf that I have here. And I know some of you were requesting my butternut loaf that I made a couple days ago. That is in there as well. In fact, there is over 70 healthy treat recipes, including jams and Vegemites and breads and cakes and muffins and cupcakes and cheesecakes and pies and all sorts of amazing things. And I'm hoping that fingers crossed, that our designer will have that ready for you guys towards the end of this week. It's very exciting. The kaya jam's in there, but you've got the video now, so you can watch the video if you want to make your own kaya jam. The bread is in there, but I also have done this as a video. If you want to check out the video, you can't wait for the end of the week, then you just need to go on to Bridget's Healthy Kitchen Facebook page, hit the video link, and all the videos that I've done live will come up. And this gluten and grain-free white sandwich loaf is one of those videos. So there you go. And you just cut a big slice, toast it in the oven, and then of course, bit of healthy grass-fed butter, and then this amazing, gorgeous jam is all yours for the taking. So there you go, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this recipe. Next time in the kitchen, we're going to be making a very delicious, slow-cooked Malaysian style lamb curry. Can't wait. Very excited about that as well. Until then, I hope you stay safe and stay well. Come back and join me right here in Bridget's Healthy Kitchen. Until then, bye guys. Bye.